So welcome to the Cable 15 studio, Chanel.
Thank you.
Great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Miss Michigan USA.
Yes.
That's got to be somewhat of a mind trip. Just briefly sort of track your journey to even competing in the pageant, because this is your first one from what I understand.
Yes, this is my first pageant, and it actually took place about a month ago in Port Huron. And I decided to compete for the pageant earlier this year. That was in May. And so I went ahead, I submitted my application, and they emailed me back and said that I had been presented with the title of Miss Southfield. And that was really exciting.
Yeah.
And so throughout the months preparing for the pageant, I was really just focusing on fitness and trying to stay calm, because it's very nerve-wracking,
I can imagine, yes.
as well as prepping for on-stage questions and interview questions as well. So, yeah.
Now, did you prep by maybe watching previous pageants or going back and maybe YouTubing some previous maybe Miss Michigan contestants or Miss Michigan winners?
Yes, I actually did that a lot, and it was very helpful to me. An online resource, Pageant Planet, helped me a lot. They are like the pageant resource for, online prep. And then I also got a coach. I actually got her the last month of my prep. That was in August. So yeah, I did it all by myself, and then I went and got her. And her name's Krista Ferguson, and she actually won in 2016. She was Miss Michigan USA. So she definitely helped me in those last few weeks of my prep, just like, tweaking some things and getting my outfits together and interview questions and interview etiquette. So yeah.
Now, you're somewhat of an anomaly because many of the contestants that enter those pageants have been training for that for years. So the fact that this was something that you sort of decided to do almost at the last minute, didn't really have the formal training, but yet still went and nailed it, that's very much an anomaly.
Yeah.
So before all this, what were your interests?
Actually, I graduated from Wayne State University in 2016, and I'm a probation officer actually in Troy. So I've been doing that a little bit over a year now, and that's really all I was focusing on. I'm a new graduate, and I, got a job in the field that I went to school for. So that was really exciting. And while I've been watching the Miss Universe organization for a while, I was kind of hesitant to enter the pageant. And so this year I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. I know I'm not gonna win because it's my first time, but it'll be a good experience for me to meet some new people and get the hang of things. And then I can go back next year and really, really try to, win the crown. But unfortunately, I won't be able to go back next year because this is my year. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, let's fast track to the actual competition.
Okay.
So you're there. What were some of the various competition criteria and activities that you had to go through? I know there's Q&A,
yes.
There's other competitions. Sort of outline some of those.
So first and foremost, in the beginning, you'll do a bio, and that's what you're going to submit to the judges. So that's what they're going to read off of when you're in your interview. And once you get there, you are going straight into the interview, and there's a panel of, well, this year it was a panel of 5 judges at 2 different tables, and you'll interview with each of those individuals, and they range from previous pageant winners, professionals. I think someone this year had was a psychologist, and they just chose them to be a judge. So after that, you leave, and we do rehearsals all day long, and that was on the 20th. And I mean, we were rehearsing to the point where our feet are hurting so bad.
Really?
Yes, it's like it's an all-day thing. And after that, we wake up the next day and we head to the venue that the pageant is going to be held at, and we do the same thing. We rehearse all day. Finally, the pageant begins, and so we'll do an opening number, and usually that's in a more a shorter dress, and you kind of just come out and you're like, I'm Chanel Johnson and I'm representing Southfield.
And do they incorporate dance routines and things like that?
This one, you don't have to do any dancing. Okay. You don't have to have a talent. That is for the Miss America organization. And in the Miss Universe organization, you do not have to do that.
Okay.
So the 3 segments include that opening number dress, which this year we all had to wear silver. So everyone had on a silver cocktail dress.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, we go and we change for swim. And so you can come out in whatever kind of swimsuit you want, and you just kind of like strut on the stage, and that's your swimsuit section of the pageant. And then we do evening gown. So I actually had a ball gown I chose, and there's no criteria on the ball gown, and it was magenta. And
sounded very regal.
Yes, it was very regal. It took me about 3 hours to decide on a dress, but it turned out that that was the dress for me. And it looked amazing on stage, and I felt amazing in it on stage.
Absolutely.
And yeah, after that, they choose the top 15.
Okay.
And then after the top 15, they'll choose the top 5. And once they called my name for the top 5, I was just like,
yeah, I was going to ask, what was going through your head at that time?
I'm not supposed to be chosen. This is my first time. Right. So I was the last top 5 contestant to be called. And after that, I was like, I'm completely satisfied. You know, this is my first pageant. This is supposed to go like this. Right. And so after that, we're asked an on-stage question. And my
what was yours?
On-stage question was surrounded by the concept of freedom of speech. Okay. And so that's what it focused on. And I can't really remember my answer. I have it in my phone, recorded, because I was so nervous on stage, it kind of just blurted out. Right. But it was focused on the freedom of speech. So, yeah.
Nice. Now, since you didn't really have a lot of experience before that, are you almost playing with house money when you're competing in a pageant such as that? Is the pressure not really felt as much since this was your first one? There were no expectations going in.
Yeah.
What was your mindset with that?
Well, in anything that I do, I want to do my best. I mean, even though I wasn't thinking I'm going to win, I definitely prepped very hard for this pageant. I mean, it was something that I thought about for about 4 months straight, nonstop. Okay. And, you know, just practicing those questions and being prepared to, you know, be interviewed, because you don't know what the judges are going to ask you. I mean, they do have your bio in front of them, but they can ask you anything they want. They can ask you anything about things that are currently going on in the world, you know, things about your job. And you have to be prepared to answer those questions quickly. So I wanted to be prepared to do that, as well as, you know, walking on stage. I'm going to be walking in front of, you know, 1,000 people. I have to be prepared
to do that. Though? How do you train to walk in a stately, elegant way that is befitting of the pageant? I mean, what kind of training did you incorporate to make sure you had that walk, as it were?
Yeah, well, actually, I did a few fashion shows a few years ago, and I think that really helped me with, you know, feeling confident in my walk and shoulders back and putting my head up high.
Proper posture.
Yeah,
right.
So I definitely say that got me far, you know, in regards to my prep, and then just refining that and, you know, not tripping on stage. That just really helped me refine that, as well as Krista, because she's been to Miss USA. So she knows what they're looking for, you know, when it comes to that pose when you reach the end of the stage, and that turn when it's time for you to go back behind the curtain. So all of that I had to incorporate into my prep as well.
Now, would you say that your life has totally changed since being named Miss Michigan?
I would definitely say, in my opinion, my life has totally changed, because I'm always going to be Miss Michigan USA for 2020. And that's really special. You know, I'm on Wikipedia now.
Yeah, I noticed that. I saw that.
Yeah, and I am the first person from Southfield to ever win. I am the first African-American woman to win this title in 15 years. And, you know, Carol Gist, I forgot to mention this. She actually presented me my flowers on stage, and you know, she is the first African-American Miss USA ever. So that was really special, and it is very special to me. And I'm the first woman from the Michigan Department of Corrections to ever win. So there's a lot of firsts here, and that's all really cool. Yeah.
What was the response of your workmates and your colleagues at you winning this?
Oh my goodness, they've been so supportive of me. I actually I didn't tell anyone that I was competing in the pageant. I absolutely did
Really?
not tell anyone. I told my family and a couple of my friends. And they were like, "You're gonna win, you're gonna win." And I was just like, okay, whatever. But I did tell my office mate, he actually sits right next door to me, when I was walking out of the door for the weekend of the pageant. I'm just like, "Hey, I'm doing a pageant, you know, I don't know what's gonna happen." He's like, "You got this, you so got this." And I came back that Monday with my crown and sash, and everyone since then, they've been treating me like a queen.
Absolutely.
And they've been so supportive of me, and I am really appreciative of them. Yeah.
Now give us a quick bite about, you're from Southfield, you win this pageant, you're
Yes.
representing Southfield, as it were. How did it feel to win this on behalf of your city even? You know, what kind of civic pride did you feel at winning this Miss Michigan USA, being from Southfield?
Yeah, I mean, that is very special to me. I mean, Southfield is a place that I grew up. I've met my best friends in the city of Southfield, and we're still best friends today. You know, we've been friends for 20 years. And, you know, a lot of the important things that have happened in my life and the monumental things that have happened in my life have happened in Southfield. So for me to be able to represent Southfield as Miss Michigan USA and to be the first person to ever represent Southfield is really, it's really special to me. It is. I love the city of Southfield.
Well, we're very excited, obviously, to have one of our own have this recognition. So I would like to read a brief proclamation. I'm declaring October 28th, 2019 as Chanel Johnson Day in the city of Southfield. All right.
In terms of just being a role model now, how important do you embrace that responsibility now?
Yes, I mean, I definitely have taken that into a large consideration after winning this title, because that's really what I want to focus on. And it's so cool that I get to, you know, showcase the things that are important to me, and I get to share them with other people. And I'm going to be actually doing a school tour. And so I hope that I'll be visiting, you know, pretty much all of the schools in the Detroit and Metro Detroit area. And because I'm a probation officer, promoting positive behavior is something that we, you know, place a great emphasis on among people who are on probation. So I want to be able to do that amongst, you know, those who are in middle school. And I think that's going to be really important to our society.
Yes.
You know, trying to get our youth on the right path early, before they enter high school, before they get out here in the world and have to figure it out on themselves. And I think that it could have a really positive impact on communities. So I'm really excited that I get to be a role model for so many people.
And that really dovetails nicely into the next question, because you're a probation officer and you see a lot of some of the negativity or negative stereotypes that have been associated with the African American community in the penal level, in the prison industrial complex. But you're winning this is such a positive thing, and it really sends great messages to those who are looking at perhaps doing that when they get of age. How important is it for you to really embrace positivity, but also just reflect that in the community now in your new role as Miss Michigan?
Yeah, I think that's something that is going to be extremely important in 2019, and not just in the community, but, you know, all around the United States. I think that's important. You know, we are in a very important time right now. We have a lot going on, and I think that promoting positivity and promoting youth to staying on the right path so that they can be productive members of our society when they grow up is what's going to, you know, break apart some of the negative things that we have going on in the world. And I'm very excited to be a part of that. And I know that I'll be able to touch not only young women, because, you know, people think that when you're a pageant girl, you're just helping the young ladies, but I want to be able to encourage some young men too, because, you know, they're important, and it's important for them to know that being active members of in your community and being a positive member in society is important.
Absolutely. Well spoken.
Thank
you. So now, moving forward, you've got the Miss USA competition on tap. When is that going to happen, by the way?
That's going to be in April. Okay. It's going to be in Ohio. Okay. And we don't know the exact dates yet, so can't tell you guys that. But it's probably going to be towards the end of April. So far, all we know is that it's in Ohio and that it's in April.
Now, how do you go about preparing for that? I guess you can kind of go on YouTube and look at past competitions, but how do you get mentally prepared, but also aesthetically and physically prepared for something like that?
Well, I mean, at the state level, it's intense. So I am gonna have to turn it up about 10 more notches. Yeah. I actually have a set of amazing sponsors that are gonna be helping me prepare. And luckily, the young lady that I hired to help me at the end of my prep, she is a sponsor. So she is mine throughout this year, as well as Elite Training USA. They're going to be helping me get my fitness together. I actually did a workout with them a couple of days ago, and it was pretty intense. So I'm looking forward to these next few months. Luigi Brutti Salon in Birmingham. I actually can get my hair done, nails, makeup, anything that I need. They're going to be helping me with that. So I have some pretty amazing people that are going to be helping me prepare over the course of the next few months.
Sounds like you got Team Chanel in place.
I do. I really do. Yeah.
Now, wow, you're going to be on a national platform at this point with that Miss USA competition. Now, are there still things that you sort of have to fulfill, certain criteria, just as Miss Michigan?
Yes.
Leading up to that? And if so, what are they?
Well, so it's up to me, you know, to decide where I want to be throughout this year. And I actually just spent the day a couple of days ago at Children's Hospital, and we did an event for Halloween, and it was called Booing. And we presented them with pumpkins to color and donuts and a book and, you know, a gift bag. So it's going to be up to me to decide where I'm going to be, but I hope to be at all the major events throughout the Detroit and Metro Detroit area, such as like the auto show and things like that.
Definitely.
And I definitely want to be active in my community too. I mean, all that fun stuff is cool, but I want to be doing lots of community service. I want to be going around to the schools. I want to be at, you know, nonprofit organizations and visiting juvenile detention centers and just, you know, being a positive and active member of my community. So.
Now, talking with you, you seem to have this communal aspect about you, and that is making a difference, giving back when you can.
Yes.
How important is that to you, especially now in your new role, to make a difference in the community and any success you experience to give back in some way?
Yeah, I think that's really important. And, you know, even without the crown and sash, it's important. But now that I have it, you know, people are going to be looking to me as a role model. So I'm sure that I'll be even more impactful, you know, at those volunteer events and within my community with my crown and sash on. It's Miss Michigan, and people get really excited about that. So for me to be there with them, for me to be helping out in my community, especially with the holidays coming up, I know there's going to be lots of opportunities for me to do that. It's very exciting and it's very important to me. Yeah.
Now let's, we've been talking about Chanel, the Miss Michigan winner.
Yes.
But what about Chanel, the woman? What do you like to do? What are your hobbies? You know, what were your interests before all of this happened?
Yeah, well, before all of this happened, I definitely want to tailor some of my personal goals to my professional goals as well. So somewhere along the line in my life, I'd really like to create a nonprofit organization that focuses on reentry services to newly released women. That's something that's very important to me, making sure that they, you know, have the things that they need as well when they are released from incarceration. And aside from all of that, I mean, I'm pretty relaxed. You know, I like to read, I like to run, I enjoy spending time with my family, and I have a little dog too.
What's the last good book you read?
Well, currently, I'm not done with it yet. Okay. I'm reading a book and it's called The Confidence Code. And it's by Caddy Kay and Claire Shipman. And I actually got it from the previous Miss Michigan, Elise Made. She gave it to me on the day that I won. And so far, it's a really good book. And it focuses on women who have, you know, seemed to gone to school and they've gotten their degrees and they're credentialed and they're in high places, but somewhere along the line, women still feel like they are not as worthy as, other individuals in the workplace, or the things that they have to say aren't important. And while reading the first few pages of the book, I'm like, wow, this is me. I have definitely felt these feelings at some point in my life that maybe, the things that I had to say weren't important, or the dreams or the goals that I had set for myself maybe, weren't something that were attainable. And so if you're like me and you have experienced those feelings before, but you have things that you want to say and things that you want to do, and you feel like, maybe you just need some confidence to do that, I think the Confidence Code is a really good book to read.
We don't want to make any predictions on the Miss USA, but we know that for sure you're going to be sort of on a national platform. What's one thing that you want people to take away from your being Miss Michigan and what you stand for during that Miss USA competition?
What I would definitely want people to take away from, this past competition would be to just go for it. Like, I doubted myself. I did throughout the process. And I went in there and I won my first pageant. And it actually took me a couple of weeks to realize, like, I just won. That wasn't supposed to happen. So I would definitely say anything that you want to do in your life. When I graduated from college, I applied for the position that I have at least 20 times. And then when I finally had given up on it, it just fell in my lap and I got the job. And I go on and I'm 26 and I do my first pageant and I won. So I definitely think that giving it your all and just going for anything that you want to do in your life is really important, and it just might work out.
All right. Now, bringing it back to family, friends, I know they have been your support. What are some words of wisdom that they have given you now moving forward into this great unknown space that you're entering?
Words that they have given me, you're gonna win. No, but aside from all of that, my mother, actually, my mom has always told me that your first choice is your best choice. And I think that's really, important, because you go on a path to do something. And then you may be discouraged, and you may want to change your mind. You may want to be like other people and switch it up. And that's kind of how I was when I was picking out my dress. I was the only one with like a huge poofy ball gown on that was pink. So, your first choice is your best choice. If you decide on something that you want to do in your life, you continue on that path and you be persistent always, and it's gonna work out. Don't ever change the way that, you see the vision for yourself based on what other people think or what other people are doing.
Well, is there one thing that you want people to know about you, just moving forward in terms of just participating in the Miss USA competition, the experiences that you've taken from Miss Michigan? What do you want the Southfield community to know about you and your experiences?
What I want them to know about my experiences is that, one, if you are a young lady and you are trying to gain confidence in yourself and you're trying to, figure out a way just to be more confident in general, I highly recommend you competing in a pageant. I mean, there are so many. You don't have to just go to the Miss USA. There are pageants. I actually had the pleasure of meeting with Mrs. Michigan last weekend. Oh, wow. There isn't a certain age limit for you to participate in a pageant. And even if you don't win, you're gonna walk away with new friendships. I have met so many amazing young ladies who are doing so many different things, people who are still in school, attorneys, people who are in medical school. There is no set criteria for somebody to enter in a pageant. So whether you win or not, you're gonna walk away with something: public speaking skills, confidence, and new friendships. Secondly, what I would want my community to know is that I'm really down to earth. So if you see me, walking around, please come say hi. I really like to, I've met so many people who are like, oh my goodness, it's Miss Michigan. And they're like, you're so down to earth. And I really appreciate that. So, I definitely want to meet more people within my community and in my surrounding communities and take a picture.